Thanks so much for coming. Warm welcome to today's Una.Lecture. The Una.Lecture is a format for outreach and dialogue under Una Europa's flagship project Una Futura. My name is Inga. I'm the communications lead for Una Europa at KU Leuven, working in the international office, and I'm very happy to be the moderator of today's lecture. Just like last year, we have the opportunity to have this lecture organized as part of the Sustainability Week, putting the emphasis and the spotlight on what we're doing in Una Europa in the field of sustainability, as it's one of our so-called focus areas. And today we're zooming in on the question, how can education actually shape a more sustainable future? Or in other words, what are the key ingredients for future-oriented sustainability education? And we have the chance to look at these questions with a very interesting panel, very diverse views. But first we wanted to hear from you what you actually think and what in your ideal world sustainability education should look like. So Lilia, show us what we have in terms of keywords and buzzwords. Okay, dear panelists, I will introduce you one by one and ask you to pick one buzzword that resonates with you. Eda, you're a student in international politics here at KU Leuven, and you're one of the first ever students to have participated in the UnaVEx program. Which buzzword resonates the most with you? Which one would you pick? Take a microphone, please. We need to have you on mic for recording.
Okay. I've been also checking which one I'm looking at. I'm thinking, yes. Okay, I would go for everyone. I saw everyone here. Yes. It's because, why I would choose that? Because it's about everyone, and everyone should be able to transform themselves into sustainability. Like, they have to transform themselves in a way that we are living. It's not just because we are, it's not just because understanding the world we are living, but also to understand how we act, how the world is interacting with each other, how the policies, how the environment, and how the society interact with each other. And everyone should include in that. Everyone should attend that.
Okay.
That's why, yes.
Everyone, that's a good one. Very interconnected. Alvaro, you're another student panelist. You're a master's student in sustainability here at KU Leuven, and you're also very active in the Green Office, coordinating networks and projects, right? Mm-hmm. Which buzzword do you like best?
Well, maybe related to what Eda said, I think international and global are a bit similar, but I consider that important when we're talking about sustainability, because the challenges that we are facing is not just focus on different in specific regions, but it's something that involves everyone. So for me, that's one of the most important things when we are talking about it.
Okay. Karel, you're a professor here at KU Leuven dealing with a circular economy and also representing KU Leuven in the self-steering committee in Una Europa that's dealing with sustainability. So SSC's steering committee means basically a group of academics working on new academic and research endeavors in Una Europa. So which one would you like best?
Yeah, I will actually pick three small words that belong together. It's head, yeah, but it's important. It's head, hands, and heart. And that's for me the core of sustainability education, since we are good in this heads, relatively good when it comes to sustainability. But hands and heart, we really have to work on that.
Warm welcome to our guests from Poland, Piotr, Szwedo. You're professor for international public law at Jagielloński University, and you're one of the main coordinators behind the so-called BASUS, the joint Bachelor in Sustainability that Una Europa is launching this autumn. Which one of these buzzwords do you like best?
I pick one which is quite minor. I don't think I can see it on that screen, which is actually outdoor. And I pick outdoor, not only because I'm a great fan of mountain hiking, but I also suffered a lot when I was studying indoor law. And now I think studying outdoor is much more fun. But you can also pick it in a metaphoric sense, that we have to go out of our disciplines, out of our comfort zones, as we look at the education. This is what we're trying to do also in our bachelor.
Thank you, Lena. You're a PhD candidate dealing with matters of a society of the future, and also these last years, I'm not sure to what extent you've actually had a chance to look into your own research, given all the work you have put into BASUS, the Joint Bachelor in Sustainability. Which main ingredient resonates the most with you from the blackboard?
I think I've seen the word perspective somewhere on the screen, and I like this word a lot because if you look at the word cloud, you will see a lot of descriptors that could be used to describe perspective. It could be pluralistic, it could be individual, it could be interdisciplinary, and so on. And I think that this is a little bit what sustainability is about. It's about looking at problems which are often global, which are often well-known, but from different perspectives, and trying to come up with such solutions which will be applicable in various circumstances. Also, what you said about my research not being my priority right now, this is also, I also try to frame it as a matter of perspective. I'm learning something different currently. I'm learning more about sustainability education probably than about the scope of my actual PhD dissertation, but I hope that I will wrap it up very soon and I will be able to present my actual research to you as well at some point of the future.
Apologies, I didn't want to put you.
No worries. The pressure is much needed, so thank you for that.
Okay, we've had a first round of key ingredients, and we'll dive into this in more detail in a second. But first, I would like to look more in detail at two concrete examples of programs that we have seen evolve in Una Europa. First, UnaVEx. So Eda, UnaVEx, I don't know, when you hear this and you're not familiar with the term, you might think it's actually some weird detergent. Yes. Or what does it actually stand for, and what was it like being involved?
Yes, I have noted it down because I'm saying it as like UnaVEx to everyone, so I need to check it again. So it's Una Europa Virtual Exchange for Sustainability. It stands for that. And it's like a 5 weeks virtual exchange program across the EU and African universities. It includes plenary sessions from the experts, and it has 2 sites. In the first site, we have plenary sessions with the experts in their areas in sustainable development, ecological sustainability, social sustainability, and cultural sustainability. Yes, I think so, yes. And in the last week, in the first part, we are listening to them, and in the second part, we are working on a sustainability action project, actually, with groups, yes. And it's basically that. We are engaging in the sustainability topics, and it's promoting the intercultural and interdisciplinary side of the sustainability, because sustainability is more than ecology, it's more than society, and it's more than governance as well. I'm an international politics student, and when I heard about sustainability, it's just policies. But I realized that, it's something beyond that again, and it's also nice because we learned from the experts, while we're also learning from our peers as well, around the world again. And I realized that challenges that we are facing require cooperation across all the continents, all the sectors, all the areas, and in the old pillars of the sustainability. So it goes beyond the classroom, it's about action. And yes, should I say more about the program? I can say, yes. But I have the project as well. Now
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
going
the
to.
poster?
Yes, in poster. So, I mean, it was, yes. I mean, as I said before, we had to present a sustainable action project, and our project was about sustainable, responsible consumption and production, and is one of the SDGs, SDG 12, and like it takes too much time. We talked a lot, like which SDG should we focus on? Because have you ever looked at? Probably you have already looked at the SDGs, and when you see them, like all of them are so important. Like which one should I focus? And we decided to focus on SDG 12. And our project is actually inspired by one of the projects of Green Office. I was just telling him that. I was checking what KU Leuven has been doing on the ground, what we are doing in our university. And I saw the cooking workshops with the leftovers, with the leftovers. It was like a workshop that just happens in when I saw it, it happened in 2 years ago. But I think that was again in last week or this week, it's going to happen again, but I didn't know it. Our project is basically like weekly workshop focused on reducing the food waste through the fun and themed cooking sessions. And each week we are going to be focusing on different cuisines to again foster the interculturalness, yes, and interconnectedness. But there's no winner group. I mean, they're going to work as winners, groups, but they're going to any of the receipts going to be winner. All receipts going to go into a shared online cookbook that we are going to create, and it's going to be shared with everyone. And the food that has been done is going to be donated or shared with those in need and with the collaboration with the local partners. Yes, and we love this idea. It includes not just the food waste part, but also the community part. It also puts something to the future with the online recipe book that we can cook delicious foods. Yes, that's all. And it was a nice experience for me in general as a UnaVEx, that I can say that. I've been into sustainability since high school, most in sustainability, in sustainable development part. I have different experience in international organizations and the governments in Turkey, but none of them has been a virtual exchange program. I never met someone from another countries or Africa, another continents. I haven't met them. I'm so lucky that UnaVEx have this opportunity for me.
Yeah. So there are 6 partners involved. For those who don't know. It's the University of Helsinki and University of Bologna,
yes.
From the Una Europa universities, in addition to KU Leuven, and 3 African partners, University of Kinshasa, University of Nairobi, and University of Johannesburg. And if I understood correctly from what you were saying, by way of preparation, you had some nice contacts established as well with the researchers for your master's thesis through that
I'm
project.
also involved in the AFT project, and in Congo, and I met someone from the Kinshasa University, and we are in touch with our projects here. So it also leads to new networks and connections around the world.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see the ideation process that was part of your group work now being connected slowly but surely to the program manager. No, we don't have to dive into this now, but I'm really happy to see you guys talking, because the idea is that, the ideation, the ideas that are developed as part of UnaVEx are then embedded in a local green office, for instance, to the extent possible. Right, so that was, thank you so much, a first insight into the UnaVEx program. Do we actually have other participants here? Not yet. Okay, that will come later then. Now we're kind of fast forwarding to the future, and I wonder if one of you, Lena or Piotr, you would like to play student of the future. So let's say 5 years from now, imagine you were a BASUS student, what would your student trajectory and your experience look like in a new joint bachelor?
Okay, so I can try. I can say that I actually decided to choose BASUS because I had a lot of interests which were all circulating around the need to understand how the world functions and what we could realistically do to make it better. Because what interested me the most were the larger schemes of things and the processes that are ongoing all the time in different parts of the world, but which might operate differently in some countries, in some regions, in some communities. I wasn't actually very sure in the beginning which cluster of disciplines or which topics are the ones that I would like to tackle in my professional life. But when I joined the Bachelor in Sustainability, I used the opportunity of having the first year together with our other students and experiencing all of those introductions to different tracks to choose the one that suited me the most. And then I moved to a different university to follow my track of choice, where I learned that actually something that I would like to specialize in was a part of a very interesting research project at yet another university. This is why I actually participated not in one, but in 2 mobilities and the summer school in the meantime. So I got to have a pretty comprehensive perspective of how different sustainability challenges function in different parts of Europe. And finally, I finished with very nice, I hope, bachelor thesis. At least my supervisor was proud of me. And I started working as a sustainability officer, a sustainability consultant in one of the international companies. I'm mentioning this perspective now also as myself, because up to the part when I chose the joint bachelor in sustainability, which obviously wasn't a thing when I was a student, this was exactly my line of thinking. I was a prospective student who was interested in so many things, and I couldn't really choose one that would reflect this, I would say, the interest that I had in the world as such. So when we were designing BASUS, and I was also in the process for quite a long time, actually, 4 years, if I'm correct. This was an attempt for me to design also a program that I would like to study in. So BASUS, I hope, will be useful for you, for your friends, for your family, for your colleagues. But it would be a very good choice for this Lena from the past. And I think this is what makes it also very special for me. So I hope that this added value that the jointness of the program brings, that the fact that you will get to cooperate with international teachers and with international students throughout the whole program is a really, really huge value for every student. Obviously, the fact that you're going to end up with a degree awarded by 6 incredibly good universities and a certificate signed by 8 is an added bonus. I won't complain about that. So this is actually how it looked for me. And I deliberately didn't want to tell you which track I've chosen, because we have 6. They are quite interesting. They are quite different. But the reason why I didn't decide on one is that we tried to design the program in such a way that every student will get actually the very same value out of the program, regardless of which track they are going to choose. So even if they have different problem-oriented angles, they all deliver the same learning outcomes, and they all should give you the same excellent opportunities. This is at least what we hope for. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So I hear comprehensive, jointness, largely international, several high-quality universities awarding the degree, and good quality tracks as some of the, let's say, key ingredients of BASUS. So if we move now into the discussion round that we have foreseen, I would first like to ask you students, this is like a unique opportunity. You can say like, are there actually all these key ingredients embedded in my studies for the time being? What do I like? What do I miss? And maybe Alvaro, you're a master's student in sustainability. Would you like to make a start and outline like your key points?
Yeah, I think like it's really interesting and important, this type of programs, because it's like, I mean, this international overview that it has, but also like tackling like this modern issue that we are facing. It's really important. But for example, something that something that is always need to match is like, okay, we're studying this and how we're gonna put this in practice and maybe like get out of like this ivory tower that we can be sometimes when we're in like the academic world or studying, that we don't like face the real problems that are happening like in real life. So I think like the programs like this sustainability career is like, yeah, you can literally tackle what you're studying to and connecting to real challenges that are happening to everyone, to your peers, and also like the same with the UnaVEx, right? It's like the experience of literally connect the people and also like have a space to being able to find solutions or find, I don't know, an encounter point that will let us to find solutions in the future.
So connecting the educational format to real challenges and making also sure that there's a lot of collaboration between students that I hear as two key points.
Yeah, I think like the diversity within the group students, it's a strength that should be like encouraged, I think like actually in every program, because not only like different like backgrounds, but also like disciplines or points of views. It's really important to make it like, I don't know, like at the end of the discussion within the program, like more fruitful. And for example, now we were talking with Eda about like how she got inspired by this project from the Green Office. It's like, okay, how these initiatives that was happening here can maybe work for someone else. And also like now, I think like the ideas at the end are always there and people are just like sharing it. I mean, we're not creating something new, but just like sharing it and spreading the knowledge.
Would you like to add to this from your point of view?
So, I mean, first of all, my bachelor was also international relations, and I've tried to make my international relations bachelor program turn into a like sustainability bachelor. It was like hard because I had my mandatory courses, but like with the electives and what I have done as volunteer, I tried to make it like a sustainability bachelor. But it was like hard. It need too much ambition and like too much passion to do something outside the school and with my hands actually, I mean, to the point. And when I like think about these all, a program that includes all the experience in itself in one program and allowing students to choose their path among the sustainability pillars or among the areas, which one would you like to focus on is definitely nice. And I think it's also really important to include as much as stakeholders into the processes because, I mean, sustainability is an area that's, I mean, there are too many actors in the area, in the ground. Even here, like, we are too many people here, and there are too many, I mean, we need too many people here as well. So including the stakeholders in the processes, in decision-making processes, in this, like, to foster the real-life examples, and also I will tell, to teach the practicalities that's actually happening in the ground, happening in the outside of the universities. I think that would be nice to have in a program. Yes.
Point taken. Next time round, we try to focus the panel. No, we need the diversity of stakeholders, right? I saw you nod, Karel, when Eda was talking about the different pathways of students and the struggle of trying to embed sustainability elements and trying to make things work. Would you like to comment on this from an ingredient perspective?
But I like very much your plea for transdisciplinarity and also service learning, as we call it in KU Leuven, to go to society, to learn together actually with them. And I think this kind of competencies that students gain, we should focus more on that. So I said at the beginning, the knowledge that is quite well known, and with AI we do have access to a bunch of knowledge, but these skills as transdisciplinarity, but also looking at things from different perspectives, what you actually were referring to include all different perspectives from different disciplines, but also from different cultures. That's also a competency that is key for sustainability, and also looking to the future, to be able to deal with uncertainty, which is part of sustainability as well, and try to find your own path in that by thinking, by projecting and imagining futures. That's also something that we really have to include in this kind of programs. I agree with that.
Piotr, looking at the BASUS and the experience you've had in developing, I'm sure you've looked at the market and the different programs out there, like looking back and comparing. What is the key element that BASUS try to address in making a different entrance on, let's say, the sustainability education market, if we may say so?
Yeah, it's a very interesting questions, and we were quite often in conversation, and I think this conversation with the outside world, with business, with the stakeholders, with NGOs, with governmental units has to be especially intense in the context of this program. And this is what we try to do. And very often there's a certain critique of universities that we live in bubbles. We like to talk to each other as academics. We like to use fancy language that no one understands. It makes us even more prouder because no one understands what we are trying to say. It's a dead-end road, of course. So in context of this program, we believe, and of course the time is short. It's only 3 years, so you cannot pack everything. What is critical is we try to provide, and we believe that through certain knowledge and through certain methods of teaching, we try to build something that is called, it's a fancy word, meta skills. So in other words, to learn how to learn, right? We not only teach you about law, economics, environmental science and that, we give you some package of knowledge and we push you into the space so you can independently find your own solutions in the real world, right? It's about, critical thinking. It's about entering into dialogue. One of the courses we designed is called Sustainability Dilemmas. And I'm not sure if you're gonna achieve that, but my favorite way to organize it would be to have 2 professors or two representatives of business who disagree on certain things. And they have a debate and emotionally engage students in finding their own answers to those dilemmas. Because this is what they will have to do in their real life. They will not be repeating what we teach them. They will have to, through the skills that they learned, find their own answers. And this is what this program is about. So
a strong emphasis on the meta level and
yes.
The methodology.
On learning how to learn, and also on connecting very often elements which are disciplinary far away from each other, because this is the added asset. When you talk to business people, very often the message you hear is that they have very good chemists, they have very good lawyers, they have very good economists, but then it's very difficult to find a lawyer who understands chemistry, because you have to hire him in a pharmaceutical business, right? So you have to have someone who has the understanding of the 2 fields.
The interdisciplinary translation skills, if we may say so.
And also understands the language, not only the academic language, but also a certain dictionary which is outside of the pure academic language. Yeah.
Okay, dear audience, are there any comments or questions up to now on the key ingredients that just have presented? Not yet. Otherwise, take note of your questions. If anything pops up, feel free to raise your points as we move on. So I'd like to stick with BASUS a teeny bit longer because we're moving into challenges, and having worked on Una Europa matters for a couple of years, I know that putting together a joint bachelor's is not an easy road. But I read an interview with you, Lena, actually, that the communications colleagues at the Central Una Europa team did. And you were also asked, when you were actually granted the accreditation earlier in the year, you were asked also the question about what was challenging pulling this together. And I thought, like, God, will this interview actually ever end? Because I know that there are lots of nuts to crack. But I think, you gave a very elegant answer by saying there are actually like 3 categories of challenges: sustainability, sustainability education, and sustainability education in an alliance. Does that ring a bell? Would you like to explain what you meant?
Yes, thankfully I still remember. So I can say that actually when it comes to the sustainability education in an alliance, I would say it's not the alliance part which is a problem, but I would say the alliance part actually helps. The core challenge is the internationality of it. And actually, I say it with also a sliver of hope for anyone who would like to do similar things, because actually the commitment of partner universities to resolving different issues was commendable. It was extraordinary. But the thing is that our systems, when it comes to education, they are obviously not fully harmonized. And there are sometimes differences that are very small, but in practice they turn out to be very huge operationally. So this is something very frustrating if you have this vision of, supplying some great value for the students of the future and so on and so forth. And then you realize that there are some things related to documentation or to academic calendars that you have to solve. Actually, I think this is frustrating, but this is something we can work on. I would say that a larger challenge that I see, and it's something that's looming over us, it will be an issue not only for BASUS but also for other programs, is that if we want to continue developing this offer for students in a way which will be affordable to the students and which will really provide them with some new solutions. The existing funding schemes, however, it's very good that they exist. They are not always flexible enough. So sometimes we have to make ideas fit the funding schemes, because we don't have funding schemes flexible enough to accommodate the innovation that we're looking for. So this is something that I think is the toughest of the nuts to crack. How to make it work in such a way that we could, for example, demonstrate a proof of concept and then receive some funding, as opposed to trying to make our ideas fit the call or whatever. And yeah, I could talk about it for hours. I don't know if this is the answer that you expected, but at least I can tell you that whichever level of challenges you're working on, there is a way out. At least I believe that there is a way out. And the first step that was very, very useful for us is to operate on some concrete proposals. Even if the initial idea was all wrong, the fact of working on something tangible was much more productive than just having those endless, highly theoretical discussions. So this is my go-to solution in all areas of life, which do not require much debate. So
you've already run ahead by saying, indicating first set of solutions like flexible funding schemes, and just daring to try and reiterate and improve as you go along.
Yeah, this is also a matter of trust. We have to, between institutions, on different levels.
Maybe moving more to the local level, if I may, for a bit, Karel. what kind of challenges do you see, let's say, within our university in terms of embedding sustainability formats, collaboration across departments, communication, structural support?
Yeah, there are many challenges, I would say. And actually what Lina said about international collaboration, that also holds within a university.
Yeah.
You need some more coordination than for the traditional education, I would say. If you want to bring this interdisciplinarity within a program or single courses, you need to bring these professors together. You need some more support, you said it yourself. But what I also have seen that it is very important if you want to bring sustainability into a program. Let's focus on that. You first of all need a kind of shared vision on what is sustainability. What I often have seen is that colleagues are very much interested and they wanted to include sustainability in their courses, in their education activities, but they all start from scratch, all with different visions. So if we can bring that together and start from a common trunk, let's say, we do that now in the engineering science faculty, for example. That will be done in the Faculty of Economics and Business. You start with a course or with some lessons about sustainability. That is also not only for the students, but also for the colleagues, so that you can attach yourself to that and further develop it. And the next challenge then is, of course, that you need more than only transferring knowledge. So you have to bring in these skills. We are not that used to it, to this typically the sustainability skills. We also have to introduce this transdisciplinarity, this working together with society, that again needs some more support and some more coordination if you want to include stakeholders or other partners to develop service learning. So that kind of support you need at the university. It's rather new. We have to educate also the professors how to do that and to motivate them.
Okay, we can write a wish list now.
Yeah, but it's now the 2 weeks of the campaign of the election of directors, so we can say it to them as well.
From a student perspective, Eda, Alvaro, we've already heard, from you, Eda, about your wish to integrate more sustainability elements, but sometimes struggling to make it compatible with your curriculum and your path. Did you encounter other?
Yes, I was thinking. Yes, actually, again, I will say that I'm studying international politics, and for a long time, and the students are into the hard politics, like the war, the security, and the things that's happening in the world, like the Ukraine, like the Palestine. I'm not saying that they're not important, of course, someone should also be focusing on that. They should be working on that. But when I say something like, I'm into development, I'm into sustainability, they're like, okay, gender equality, yes, climate change. They don't care about that, generally. Yes, there's a group of people, that I've found, and I have found an SDG hub in my university, in my bachelor, that they were also ambitious and passionate as much as me for the sustainability concepts and sustainability topics, but generally they're I don't want to talk about that. There are people talking about that generally. So in the student side, it is also hard to have a consensus and the feeling that I would like to do something for that. They're not even, they haven't realized that also security has something with the climate change or the war and peace, and also have something with the gender equality. They're not aware of that. That's what I've experienced so far. of course, their students have already been realized that, but still, that's what I saw. Does it make sense?
I see that Alvaro would like to react, and I wonder, from a green office perspective, if you...
Yeah, actually, I think like I understand a bit what she's saying, because I think like with sustainability now, it has become like this term that we believe what it is, and we frame it in, okay, these 3 topics is sustainability, I don't know, like new clean energy, or like transportation, and we think like, oh, this is sustainability, so people sometimes from other disciplines, they are like, no, you know what? No, that's not for me, or I don't have anything to do with sustainability. But the reality is like, I think like the challenge is to maybe delve more into each of our disciplines, or I don't know, in our professional careers, and see like how sustainability can be like interconnected to that. And I think like that's the interesting part when we connect like different people from different backgrounds, because you can have a space to discuss and to question yourself, like, you know what, oh, maybe this is not sustainability, or maybe this what I'm doing is not sustainable, or you can build your own vision on what it is and how you can contribute from your different background or position that you are. So, and also like, yeah, maybe sustainability is not like working specifically in this protein shift that it's becoming, because people maybe are not interested in that, but maybe there's other things that you can do. And I think like that's really important, to have like the space for people to can like, you know what, jump with their own idea and say like, okay, this is my idea for sustainability. Of course, it needs to be like related to sustainability, but it's like it's an umbrella, I think, at the end, that allows you to have like this thinking of what it can be from what you are doing.
Yeah. So identifying mechanisms to make it relevant or applicable to your own discipline or field of work.
Yeah. And also like maybe like disengage it for just like these 3 topics that we believe that is sustainability. Like, okay, it's more at the end. It's not just like a specific topics, I think.
Maybe in contrast or in addition to this like slight indifference or like overload of all things sustainability that you were describing there, I think there is to some extent also some increasing eco-anxiety, if that's a buzzword. Like, I don't know, you like it, you don't. I wonder to what extent, activities linked to educational formats and also more like voluntary projects like green office elements that you're organizing can actually help alleviate some of these feelings. I'm just looking at my own experience. I don't have many touch points with sustainability projects. I don't have a sustainability studies background either, but I do remember I once participated in this, tidy up my local neighborhood, collecting garbage thing. And I still remember it because for once it felt like I've actually done something. And yeah, that's why I still remember it. So do you think this is something that your initiatives can help address? Do you get that feedback? Or is this a motivating factor?
I mean, I think like now a lot of like, when we talk about like sustainability challenges at the end, and also when we see the news and everything, the panorama becomes a bit dark, and people are like, oh, okay, so there's no solution for this or no solution for that. But I think like sustainability at the end, what should challenge us is like to take an action, even like from the space that you are. And for example, that's something that with the Green Office, I mean, we have projects that we try to continue every year, but we're open to, you know what, any student initiative that you want to propose related to what you're studying or related to what are you interested. For example, this year we have many new topics that people come up to us and they're like, you know what, I have like this idea of this I want to do. And if we know people, we can try to connect them also with different stakeholders, for example, here in Leuven, to make those things possible. Because that's their approach to what sustainability is for them.
Yeah.
So, and what we want is like to encourage that, to see like, you know what, okay, we are not gonna solve like the problems just by doing this, but you're contributing to something bigger. And also like to just like, I think like when you realize that there's a problem, that's already like a big step towards a solution. And yeah, I think like it's important to frame it like this, like how we take action from what we are studying or what we are learning or what we are doing.
Can you give a concrete example of how you put stakeholders together or how you provided then feedback? Because this was some of the, this was one of the challenges, involving stakeholders. So if we move to the question like how can we actually try to address some of these challenges? Do we have cases of good practice for either stakeholder engagement or how to deal with, you know, these translation of disciplines, different worlds?
I mean, the thing is that I think it's important to support, like at least, for example, in the Green Office, we have like these persons who's in charge of like finding the, like different networks and actors in the university, but sometimes outside the university too. In this case, it's me. So for example, one student came with an idea that she and some colleagues want to do like some pollination workshop, like to teach about pollination, but also that you can do like work a bit on the garden and understand how all the process works and how you can do your own garden in Leuven for students. So it was like a nice idea that come to us, and then it was like okay, and they were like okay, can you maybe provide us with seeds or like compost? And of course, the Green Office doesn't have that, but we are like, okay, but we like last year, we have like this connection with the botanical garden here in Leuven, and we were like, okay, yeah, maybe you can, and they told us like that information, like for example, we have compost available for everyone, and we were like, okay, yeah, we can connect them to them, and they also like, okay, but maybe now, like the city hall can give you like seeds that you need, and at the end it was like a nice activity, and they have just like, well, they're gonna publish like a guide that they have made from that activity. So, well, that's a small example maybe, but I think like having like, I don't know, someone who is in charge of maybe helping people to find like the different actors like here, because I mean, we're students, so we're just like, really like 3 years, 2 years masters, 1 year masters, so, but if we can do something here, and I think it's like it's forward, really helpful for the initiative that we could have.
Yeah. Thank you. Are there other examples from the panel? Also, maybe I can open the scope to the audience. I saw some reactions. Maybe the microphone can be passed on for comments and questions. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I wanted to comment a little bit on the disciplinary thing and about anxiety, because we often think about sustainability as an attempt to increase the level of environmental protection, and we think about eco-anxiety. But actually, sustainability has also those two pillars, which are often linked to a huge amount of anxiety, the social one and the economic one. For example, your friends who are working on peace and security, this is also a sustainable development goal, right? People who are working on international cooperation, this is also a sustainable development goal. And I think that this is something that we have to remember when we are working with people who demonstrate those different perspectives, who come from different backgrounds, that for us, we might be anxious about climate change, but somebody might be anxious about their financial well-being and their family. Someone else might be anxious about the war which is going on in their home country. So there are two important aspects of sustainability, and we had a project in which we were defining what it means. There is this aspect which is, I would say, temporal. So sustainability is our ability to continue, to sustain, to perform, and to live still in harmony with our surroundings in the future. But the other part is actually the balance of values. And for example, in my native language, in Polish, sustainability is translated as something which has to do more with balance, so with weighing different options and the benefits and the trade-offs. So I think this is also something that we wanted to make our students aware of, sensitive to, that we will have to make certain decisions. And it's not like we will shift the lever and we will say only environmental protection, let's get all green. Because there are always those concerns that we have to take into account, and people are also an element of our environment. So this delicate balance is something that we would really like to explore, and this is why it's not an environmental protection bachelor, even though we do talk a lot about environmental protection, but it's more about the challenges that we face and how we can address them without actually making it worse or significantly worse in some other areas. Would you like to?
I fully agree with what you said, Lena.
Yes,
Yeah, I
there's a
just
question
wanted
or comment.
it to become a bit more concrete in terms of the options within the curricula. Maybe the service learning and the community-based student research that was already mentioned next to what the Green Office voluntary examples. There are also a lot of options within curricula to get to work on concrete local research questions. We have a database full of them, so students can really get to work in collaboration with supervisors and local community organizations. So I was wondering about the options within the BAS, if students are also will do something similar. BASUS, sorry.
BASUS.
We're actually already experimenting with this, so Lena, if you want to talk about this.
Yes, sure. We actually really liked the idea of service learning, and we try to implement it. For now, we are trying to explore it quite heavily in the track that is going to be coordinated by the Jagielloński University, but I also see elements of it in other tracks. And what we do right now is we have a pilot project. Actually, because I'm talking to you, I don't teach students who are participating in this pilot project, so I hope they will forgive me. But in general, this is a pilot project that is meant to teach students how to come up with different projects aimed at the socioeconomic environment, how to actually effectuate the projects, but also to some extent, this is a very pragmatic thing, how to make it understandable for the decision makers and how to, for example, apply for funding if this is something that they would like to scale up. And the funny thing about that is that we found out that the first pilot phase was for the law students. So we tried to engage typical law students into this exercise in sustainability. And it was very funny because the reactions were very different. For some students, they jumped right into that. They were very active, very dedicated. And some were obviously willing because it was an optional course. They chose it themselves, but were a little bit confused because they hoped for a very typical course with a lecture and an exam at the very end. So this is something that obviously will function differently with different people and different institutions, but this is something that we are hoping to implement. And the summer school that we are working on, which will also be an option in BASUS, is also, we hope to make it work there as well.
Okay. Are there other questions or comments? I don't see any hands. Okay. I mean, from what I heard, a lot boils down to communications across disciplines, within the universities, with outside stakeholders, across disciplines, different players. It's very important to bear in mind the different perspectives. We don't have all the same triggers. We have different interests. And to cater for this in an educational environment, what is desperately needed, if I may phrase so, are flexible funding instruments and support. Is this a wish list we can relay to our next managers?
I can add to the wish list one more item, I think. It's mostly inspired from my own house, which is Jagielloński University, but when I talk to colleagues in different institutions, also similar, that we are mostly, especially in continental Europe, universities are based on faculties and disciplines. But it means that if you are having, and if you are affiliated in a given place, people have a high level of uncertainty of leaving this place and migrating to some kind of interdisciplinary hub, because then they are afraid of, will I have the place to come back, because very often we do experimental things. We actually, BASUS is also an experiment, right? And we are very open about this, that we say that probably this program will be in a constant process of evolution. We will change a lot of things, right? Because we will also learn from our students. I learned so much from students already, and I'm sure that we will learn also a lot now. So we must, as institutions, be open to, if we want to do new things also as institutions, we have to provide trust to the employees and trust to those who want to do new courageous projects, because if not, then they will just stay where they are.
Trust and reward.
Yes, trust and rewards, of course.
Okay. By way of closing, I've asked you before the event, one question, and I'd like you to all individually briefly reply to this. So if you were a magician wearing a shiny green robe for one day, and you had the opportunity to, magically create the sustainability education of the future, what would you do? What would it be?
No, I don't have better ideas, but I have a long list of issues and problems and wishes, so perhaps I will come up with something. I think I would do two things. First of all, I would like to sort of challenge or rather erase the barriers which are a little bit artificial. So I would say the problems related to small legal things, small administrative things, but also the lack of openness in science, or the necessity to, for example, publish and use certain journals, because it might not seem related to sustainability education at first, but it's very related to, first and foremost, the availability of information that students have, and secondly, about to the comfort of people who are working on those challenging things. Because the other thing I wanted to mention, and this is in relation to the previous comment, is that when you do such, I would say, sustainability education things, you rely a lot on people who play a supportive role. And those are people who are very often not academics. They are what we call support staff or administrative staff. And we need some more flexibility, some more trust, and some more appreciation for the people who decide to play this unconventional role. Because this is something that I think we are no longer being divided into professors and everyone else. This is something that everyone needs to be on board if we want to make it work. And I don't know what my magician would do step by step to actually do that. But I think that my starting point would be actually forming some sort of an ongoing dialogue with lawmakers and policymakers. I think that there's a lot of goodwill sometimes on both sides, but if both sides don't communicate enough, then we don't have the good solutions on the table.
Okay.
It was more philosophical than sustainability education, but yeah.
No, but addressing legal burdens, creating more openness, and supporting support staff. That sounds very valid comments to me. What would you do if you were a magician?
Based on my experience in this process of constructing Bachelor in Sustainability, I don't think we need magicians. What helped me, or helped us a lot, and I think it is what makes also Una Europa so much different to other networks that I've met, that I came across, is a very strong commitment and a very strong political will to change things. And this is what we experienced on a very deep level. What happened very often, from time to time, we needed to address rectors directly to make, very direct and very difficult political decisions, like, for example, about changing the regulations, right? So internal regulations or adapting the program to the national law. And actually, this was something that was difficult. You don't need a magician. You need someone who has this commitment and has this determination to change things. And this happened a couple of times. We experienced that, and I think this is the way forward. It gives us a lot of hope.
Commitment from the top to change things.
Yeah.
Good.
When you asked it first, I was thinking something about the stakeholders again, because I was just thinking like what makes SDGs different than MDGs is actually not just because their number increased, but also the inclusion of different partners that is included in the idea of better world. I was thinking something about that. But after his response, I was thinking like mainstreaming the Una Europa across the continents, actually. If there's something like that, we can make it mainstreamed around, like, Una Africa, Una Middle East, Una America. If we do that, I think we don't need any magicians. Yes.
Wow. Okay, for me, well, first of all, sustainability education is not only about knowledge and skills, but for me, sustainability is also a way of being. So it's a personal journey. It's a development of yourself. And Lena actually witnessed that in the beginning. So if I were a magician, I would give everybody, students and also professors and teaching assistants, the openness and the willingness to look at this and work on this personal and inner development, to understand ourselves, to understand others better, and to understand our common future better. And as university, also the tools and the means to support that better than we do today.
Yeah, I was thinking something similar to what Eda mentioned, but now, to not repeat, I was thinking like, okay, but how we can make...
Great.
I was thinking like how we can make to maybe also repeat this experience like the UnaVEx, like connecting like these universities from Europe with universities from Africa, like also try to make it like, okay, not only like Europe and Africa, but also it can be with other countries, other regions in the world, to keep like challenging like this vision of sustainability, just like one way of seeing it. So I think like that it will be like my magician trick or power to make it like education, sustainability education in the future, like how we can keep connecting and how we can like, okay, there's like administrative, cultural and different types of barrier, but how we can like erase those, or maybe not erase it, but use it in our favor to have a broader understanding of sustainability.
That would be great. Thank you. Thank you so much, dear magicians, panelists, for your contributions, for being here today. Thank you all for coming. Special thank you to the colleagues who have helped organize, Belinda, Laura, Lilia. If you have additional reflections, questions on what was said and what Una Europa is doing, feel free to reach out to us, the central team at the international office. Find us on the website or follow us on socials. Thank you for coming.